Hey, friends. Hi, guys. Hey,
Hello.
hey. Hi, QB. How are you?
Okay, my computer and my phone was having a whole meltdown.
Oh, no. It's
Like,
like it's
ma'am, you're doing
doing
the most.
yeah, you're doing too much today.
You know you
Hey,
got that AOL. Yes.
hey, Gail. Hey, India. Patricia. Donnie. Hey,
Lauren.
Donnie. Kel. Aurelia.
Kel and Aurelia's dog is having a smoke.
Mm.
And Henny. Hey Henny. We got the whole gang's all here.
Sherry. Lauren. Hey,
Hi
Lauren.
Sherry.
Miss King is back. Gail.
All the people.
All right, everybody's back. All right, you guys. So Delphi, Delphi, Delphi.
Delphi.
Yeah. So, all right. It's been a couple of days since we shared an update. There was some um trial yesterday, the day before that we haven't talked about yet. The first day that we after what we haven't discussed um was a lot of crime scene photos, like
Mm,
hardcore crime scene photos that they got to
hardcore.
see.
Yeah.
And, they talked about that. Um, and then yesterday, they went over the Bridge Guy video.
Hmm.
So, there is a YouTuber that is also a lawyer. She's a lawyer. Morgana, where did she go? QB keeps bouncing. I'll have to bring her, but there she is. There she is.
I'm
So,
sorry.
Morgana is, the one that introduced me to Andrea Burkhart on
I love
YouTube.
Andrea.
She has a great channel, and she is from Washington State and has, traveled to Delphi and basically is going to be living there for the next month. Um, Aurelia said, "Stay off the trampoline."
I look. It's it's yeah, my AOL internet.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put Andrea's link in the chat.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you for that.
you're welcome. I'm hoping that me trying to do this, I shut my computer down
Mhm.
um to see if it stops.
Mm.
It was kicking me. Hey Margaret, you're
Hey,
in the right
Margaret.
room. There is Andrea's linky link. She does an update every night.
Mhm.
She's real
7 o'clock.
yeah, 7 o'clock every night. She's really good. I've always loved Andrea, but the fact that she's a practicing attorney. She doesn't practice as much as she used to, but she's still practicing. And the fact that she has put her whole practice on hold for 6 weeks
Mm.
and gone to Delphi should tell y'all that something hinky is up.
Yeah.
So,
Not with her, but
not
with
with her,
Delphi.
no, with Delphi. Like she felt it was strongly enough about it to put everything on hold and to go.
Yeah,
So, and
Aurelia,
she
she
filed the
filed the motion.
motion. Yes, of
Yeah,
course, it's been ignored thus far, but we'll see.
yeah. She mentions that in the last couple of videos.
Yeah,
Um,
she's like, I
yeah,
did a thing. You did do a thing.
yeah. Gail, we're gonna sort of watch some of hers today, because I feel like she's really good at, like, very clear, concise information, you know? Um And I like her style, like, very bullet points, like, get to the meat and potatoes,
Yep.
right? Um, so that's what I wanted to do, and then we're also gonna read the motion that was filed today by the defense, um, and we'll explain more about that and why they filed the motion. I don't see how they can get out of it. I don't see how she can get out of it, but then again,
But she rules on motions and don't have hearings. She can do whatever she wants.
I mean, yeah, no courts in the camera, no audio,
Yep.
nothing, so, I mean, she basically
Taking
can do
people's
whatever she
cameras.
wants to do, so
I heard, and I have not confirmed, but I heard that the AP is filing. some kind of suit against not
Mhm.
Carroll County, Allen County. Allen County? Are they in Allen County?
I don't know.
No, she's in Allen County. They are in oh, no, I can't remember where they moved it to.
Yeah.
Anyways, I heard they're filing some kind of something.
All right. Well, we're gonna get started with this. Sarah Boone, we're over here from Sarah Boone's trial that we were streaming earlier today. Um,
In Ferris.
had they're on lunch. So while they're on lunch, I think they're supposed to be back from lunch at 12:50 PM. So that's about an hour and 10 minutes from now. So we should have enough time to not watch this entire video. I just want to I'm gonna start it and then kind of like get to where I want to be. But there's a lot of this video that I think is really
It's
good.
really good. Her videos are always really good.
Mhm.
She's
Some
a
other
I don't know who taught her to take notes, but they good.
She's good. She's really
So,
good.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's get started. When she first starts talking, you're gonna realize I wanna just kinda for those of you that don't know her, give you a little introduction to her from the beginning of her video. She's exhausted. She's been
Mhm.
traveling back and forth from home to here. She's getting in line at like 2 in the morning at Delphi at the courthouse
Yep.
so that she can even get a seat. And then she stays up late to bring the updates and she gets like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. So,
Yeah.
and because she is sleep deprived right now, she keeps calling it Idaho State Police instead of Indiana State
Indiana,
Police,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she also keeps calling Judge Gull Judge Bev or
Bev.
Judge Canoni.
Yes.
It's
She's
accidental.
tired.
Yeah. So, if you hear Idaho State Police, that means Indiana State Police, and if you hear Judge Canoni or Judge Bev, that means Judge Gull. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back. Day 7 is in the bag. I promised you I was going to degrade an appearance over the course of this trial. And so I'm a girl of my word. I live up to my commitments. So we got out a little bit early today. I had the choice between taking a little nap or taking a little shower. And I chose the one I thought my neighbors in the pews would appreciate a little bit more. Well, let me go ahead and just give you guys the big picture right off the bat. Today was all about Bridge Guy. Today was all about Bridge Guy. So we got the details about Libby's cell phone extraction. We got to see the video. It's nothing at all like the little pieces that have been released to the public. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about that in a little bit. We learned about basically what police had to do to the video in order to enhance it, to get the images of Bridge Guy that were released to the public, and also that audio clip that everybody heard of the girls down the hill. We then heard from 3 of the eyewitnesses out on the trail that day, the folks who saw Bridge Guy and, or at least who they believe was Bridge Guy, and provided descriptions to law enforcement. Those were Rayleigh Voorhees, Brianne Wilbur, and Betsy Blair. It is possible that Betsy opened the door to bringing in those sketches that we heard about. And finally, and I thought most notably, out of all these eyewitnesses, not a single one gave an in court identification of Richard Allen as the man they saw out there on the
Mhm.
trails. Nobody ID'd him as Bridge Guy.
Nope.
So, with that, I just dropped my pen. Let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty. We started off today. Before we got to Bridge Guy, we were finishing up with Trooper Olhai, who was the main CSI investigator out there at the scene from the Idaho State Police. And he is the one who was tasked with collecting and securing all of the evidence that was collected from the scene. So we got quite a long list of all of the different things that he had booked into evidence. So all of these things are not necessarily things he personally collected. Some of them were collected by other people. He was just the one that was responsible for securing them and transporting them to wherever they needed to go, and then entering them into the secure evidence area. So we had something like, oh gosh, let me count. about 12 items, 10 items that were recovered from the area of Deer Creek. And so that included all the clothing that had come, that they had collected, the stuff they found in the water, as well as the magic bullet, as the defense called it, and got got chastised for the magic bullet, the shoe, the phone. We had then, or I'm sorry, those were just the items that were collected from Deer Creek. Then the items that were actually collected from the scene, there were about 22 of those things, and so that's included the magic bullet. Got a little bit more detail. Item 149 is a bag that contains a strand of material taken from between the fingers of Abby's right hand. We now know that to be the hair. So between her fingers, that explains the defense team's use of the word entangled when they were describing how that hair was found. Several swabs, lots of swabs were taken from the bodies at the scene. Swabs from Abby's right hand, Abby's left arm, Libby's left and right wrist, just various different parts of the bodies. Swabs from some of the blood stains. Of course, clothing, phone, and magic bullet, those were all recovered from the scene. Some swabs from Libby's left index finger and left pinky finger. Not entirely clear where or exactly what they were getting at there. And then a swab that one of the sergeants took from basically the cell phone. So the outside of the cell phone was swabbed, and that was taken into evidence. All of that stuff was then delivered to wherever it was going to go the morning or the evening of February the 14th. So then on the morning of February the 15th, the following day, Trooper Olhai attended the autopsy. So he also was responsible for collecting and storing the items that were collected during the autopsy. So again, we had a number of swabs that were collected. Notably, they did perform sexual assault kits for both Libby and Abby. Both of those were taken into evidence. Also, some trace fiber from Abby's arm, the clothing that they were wearing, and there was a photo that showed basically the pink. Abby had been wearing a pink sleeveless shirt underneath the Delphi swim sweatshirt. And that had some red stained areas on it, as well as some lines on it that, according to the witness, were indicative of the moisture, like so where the moisture reached and created a line then as it dried. We then went to cross-examination. Before we get there, though, there were some things that raised my eyebrows a little bit as we went through.
I just want to say something that I heard someone say, and I don't remember if it was on Bob's stream last night or Lawyer Lee, because I watched all three of them. Was that the part where the lines on the clothing, like,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that the girls did walk through the creek with their clothes on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
With them on versus it's just everything all together just is not making sense time-wise. He would have had to have done everything he did in, like,
20 minutes.
20 minutes or something like that,
Yeah.
and there's no way. I mean,
Mm-mm.
especially could you imagine, like, getting wet clothes off of them?
And
It
then back
Wet
on them?
clothes and then back on her and then back on Abby.
Right.
Putting wet clothes on, and that might be why he put the bigger clothes, because Libby's bigger than Abby. Might be
Yep.
why he put the bigger clothes on her. I didn't think about that. Because she,
It could
it
fit
would have
better.
been easier to put Libby's clothes on Abby than Abby's clothes on Abby
Yep. And
with
I
them
don't know about the
wet.
water lines because the water table thing that they have from the USCG shows that water was really high.
Mhm. But see,
So
did they say where the water lines were actually
they
located on the
didn't.
clothing?
They
So,
didn't.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they know, they have that information, but she didn't say anything about it, but
Yeah.
okay.
This list of evidence. And the main thing was some stuff that was not there. fingernails. There was no mention of fingernail clippings or swabbing underneath the fingernails. This is a little mind-boggling to me because that seems just incredibly intuitive. And so I am expecting an answer from the medical examiner when we get to that particular witness. I can't. I have a hard time thinking of a good reason why you wouldn't do that. Just the possibility that either of these girls would have grasped, touched, somehow had some contact with the perpetrator really seems like a go-to to me. But we didn't get anything like that. So no fingernail clippings, no like even swabs of the fingertips or underneath swabs of the hands. I mentioned they had swabbed Libby's wrist areas. There were not nearly as many swabs from Abby. That was kind of the other thing that really stood out to me. Quite a lot of swabs taken from Libby, not very many taken from Abby. And perhaps that is because Abby was clothed. And so the assumption is that just less of her was exposed to be able to collect, have contact, to be a repository for some type of trace DNA. But again, even just things like the hands, the blood stains on her. Some of the swabs from Libby seem to be in the area of where she had blood stains, the pinky finger, some swabs from.
Also, side note, I do want to say that
Hey, Dale.
you said Dale, and I was like, what? Hi,
What?
Dale.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. But I was going to say that the when they so we haven't talked about the crime scene photos, and I do want to do a video going over probably Andrea's maybe lawyer. Some of them I'll have to go through and figure out which ones I would like to share and recap, so that you guys can hear that haven't heard already, what the crime scene was like with the girls.
Mhm.
So, but we haven't
Which,
done
I
that today.
mean,
I mean, we
since you
haven't done that.
since you said that, that kind of leads into the reason why they did that motion.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yep.
so
Um, and she'll talk about that here pretty soon.
yeah.
I'm looking at because there's timestamps on her video, and I've got it pulled up on my phone, so I can see where I need to skip to when I'm ready to skip. So,
The fingernail thing, I don't get it. And like she said, she was waiting on the Emmy, and she made a post today saying that normally, if they don't take them there, then they'll bag the hands, which I knew that. They bag the hands and the medical examiner does it. So she said she was waiting to see if the ME testifies that the hands were bagged. Because
yeah.
that makes no sense to me that they didn't swab anybody.
Mm-mm.
Their fingernails. I mean, that's like crime scene 101.
Right?
So, I'll be interested to see if the ME reports that the hands were bagged and that they took clippings or at least swabs.
Thanks, Miss King. Yeah, we'll
And
have to do that. We'll have to
if
do
you
that.
didn't catch that, she said none of those witnesses pointed to Richard Allen as the person that they saw,
Mhm.
which we already know that because the description doesn't fit. It does not fit. And but none of those witnesses testify or pointed to him as the person. I don't know. I mean, normally they say, "Do you see the person that you saw in the, gallery today?" And they go, "Oh yeah, they're sitting at the defendant's table wearing blah blah blah." I don't know if they did that, but
Mm. I mean, if
nobody
they did, they haven't said it, and as a
no
matter of fact, Andrea and just about anybody else that I've heard from that's been in the courtroom has said nobody has ID'd Richard Allen at all.
nope. And I'd be interested if they haven't asked because that's trial 101. They
Right.
always do that. Do you see the person, blah 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 that in the courtroom today? Oh yeah, they're sitting at the defense table wearing a yellow tie or whatever.
Mhm.
I was thinking of Lemonhead. Uh,
Chad Daybell.
Thank you, Margaret. You know what I'm saying? And nobody said that. Nobody has said that they've said that.
Mhm.
So I think that's telling
Oh, yeah,
that
100%.
nobody's asking that. And somebody was saying, "Oh, she's gonna say it. She's gonna talk about them, them objecting to the questioning." It wasn't
Oh,
McClellan, it's the other guy,
would you
Lytle or
agree?
whatever.
The would you
Yeah,
agree questions, yeah.
yeah, it's leading.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay, that's alright. Here we go. We're gonna go.
from the thigh area, but not similar types of things swabbed from Abby. So that was just notable. There's nowhere near as much evidence that is particular to Abby as there is particular to Libby. The cross examination was done by Brad Rosie. So first off, Brad Rosie today was in a kind of medium gray suit, like not a light gray,
She
but not a
always goes
charcoal
over what
gray, kind
he's
of in the middle
wearing.
there, a blue shirt, and he had this gray and what almost looked like an eggplant kind of colored diagonal striped tie. So for you Rosie tie followers, that's what he served up for the day. This guy is a beast at cross examination. He's so good. He's really, really good. And he's so good that he was drawing these extremely petty objections from Mr. Luttrell, who was handling the prosecution witness. These, as you may suspect, were being sustained by Judge Bev. So I will get into that in a moment. The very first thing that he elicited was given all of the evidence that he'd presented about the many swabs that had been collected. The very first thing that he had elicited was that the witness was not aware of any collection of DNA that established a connection to Mr. Allen. And he was making this point repeatedly, kind of going through the different swabs. The swab of this wrist, no connection. The swab of that, no connection. The swab of that, no connection. After about 7 times, Mr. Luttrell.
Okay, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. Let me just share this again. High detention. Hi, Ashley. Ashley says Judge who? If she accidentally says Judge Canoni or Judge Bev,
She's tired.
she's tired. She's sleep deprived. She says she calls Judge Gull, Judge Bev, or Judge Canoni through the entire thing, and she is just tired. She's sleep deprived. Also, she keeps calling it Idaho State Police instead of Indiana State Police. So
Yeah, she's tired. Hey, detention. So you're gonna go get in because I'm so jealous.
nice.
I want to be there. I said Jenny would have to do a GoFundMe for bail money because I'd be outside protesting. Start my own free Karen Reed movement, but free Richard Allen movement.
Mm,
I don't know. We've been waiting a long time. We've been waiting a long time for them to show us the goods, and I ain't seen jack.
right. Not yet, anyway. Not yet, anyway.
Also, I know you and I were talking about, we didn't talk about it on here, but you and I were talking about it this morning about how they came and said, okay, yes, there is, they played the whole video and it was the down the hill thing, and that Abby was
Mhm,
saying, but there's no trail or whatever.
mhm.
I was reading this morning, I can't remember who it was. I'll have to go back and find it. That they're saying that the enhancement was done by AI software
Yeah, it was.
and that they easily could have added something to it.
Yeah, and she talks about that here too. She says it's
Yeah.
kind of like, disheartening to know that all this time, you know, we were
That's the
looking
thing, they've been saying it.
specifically.
You know,
Yeah.
they've been showing the sketches and that
Mhm.
video and the
Yeah.
sketches in the video, and it's been on a loop, a half-second loop of him walking, and,
Hey, Laura.
"Hey, Laura. Hi, Laura." Um, they're, it's disheartening to me because I feel like I've been gaslit.
Yeah.
I mean, I already felt like they didn't have what they were saying they had. But, I mean, they've been so in our face with that, and now we can't see, well, we might be able to see the sketches, but they marked the sketches out, and then this video ain't what it was supposed to be. And apparently, the girls were laughing and giggling at one point on that video.
Well, yeah, they probably were though, because the video was taken about the same time that she took the picture of Abby. So I could see them being like, "Ooh, don't fall." You know what I mean? That kind of
Right.
thing. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Wait a daggone minute. Zombie and Laura did a live. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to go
Together?
watch that. Yes, well, Zombie's up there with over there with Laura right now.
Detention says it's pretty obvious that Richard Allen is getting railroaded. He may indeed be involved, but he ain't the only one involved. I believe that there's at least 2 people now. I don't know that I mean, I kind of thought so that there would be more than one person, but now I'm really convinced that there's more than one person because there were 2 different weapons, at minimum 2 different weapons, 2
I don't
different
think RA
knives,
was there. I don't think he was there.
2 different knives. There was a serrated one and a non-serrated one
Well,
that were used.
somebody was saying last night, I don't remember who it was. I gotta take notes of who says what. Um, but somebody said that it was did somebody was saying that they thought they said there was 2 knives because they used the first knife on Libby and it was like because of the drasticness top of what happened that they it was worn down and that's why it looked like a different knife. I don't know
Mm,
if that's true or not.
I mean, there's no way that they could, like, say that unless they have the murder weapon.
Right.
Um, but
Yep. Exactly. Detention. And then Ron Logan. I still think Ron Logan was involved. No way I don't think he's involved. Anyway,
okay.
sorry. I
Oh, you're
digress.
good. You're good. I wanna get through this, because we got the motion to read, and I don't know how much of this video we're gonna be able to get through because 'cause we're on a crunch time today,
Okay.
right? Ugh. Okay. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
Objected on
Point 2.
relevance grounds, and that was sustained. The relevance ground was that because the way Mr. Rosie was asking the question was, "Are you aware of whether any of these things returned uh, DNA connection to Mr. Allen?" And the argument was whether or not he was aware doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So therefore, it's irrelevant. Uh, I'm definitely going to dispute that. Relevance is an extremely low bar. It's an extremely low bar, and the chief crime scene investigator, you would expect to be aware of the results of things like that because they typically have to follow up, and also because they're often the person that is submitting the evidence to the lab. Um, Details certainly, these technical things, but they do matter. The little details certainly do add up. He questioned Trooper Olahai about his knowledge of problems with the integrity of the scene and the integrity of the investigation. Um, Asked if he was aware of breach of integrity of the crime scene. That again was objected to on relevance grounds. This time it was overruled. Yes, the integrity of the crime scene and his knowledge of it is pretty important. So then Mr. Rosie asked more specifically if he had knowledge of photos that had been taken at the scene and leaked to the public. He did not have any particular knowledge of that, but that seed has been planted. And so now there is an expectation that the defense is going to elicit that from one of their witnesses on the stand that happened. Mr. Rosie was asking a lot of his questions in the form of, would you agree that da 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 XYZ, yada yada yada, however you want to put it. Would you agree that? The state objected to this. This was one of the more bizarre things. One of the more bizarre things I've seen in a trial. Objected to that on the basis that he thought that constituted a statement of counsel's
Okay,
opinion,
I'm gonna
and
skip
asking him whether he agreed with counsel's
to
opinion or not. And since counsel's
about the
opinion isn't
19-minute
relevant,
mark.
it's an
Hold
improper
on.
question. Heard relatively minimal parts of their body.
Here we go. This is about the
All
branches.
very silly, but that's just part of the game playing, and part of the strategy that goes more to the gamesmanship than it does to the actual merits of the case or the evidence. When he questioned Trooper Olahai about the sticks, Trooper Olahai conceded that the sticks appeared to be placed by human hands, but he asserted he believed it was an attempt at concealment. I don't think this is credible. I would have a hard time thinking that the jury is going to find this credible because the girls were really not concealed at all. They weren't covered in foliage. It was the branch part, and just, in a few discrete areas where there were branches that covered relatively minimal parts of their bodies. If they had wanted to conceal the girls, there is a massive amount of leaf litter on the ground in this area. And I would think the logical thing to do would be pick up some of these leaves, dump them on the girls, bury the girls in a leaf pile. If you wanted to conceal them, that is what is available right there to be able to do it. These twigs, no, this is just really not a credible position. So he did have to concede. Yes, very little of them were actually concealed, and they were not very covered. He did not recall if there was any indication that any of the sticks had been cut, that there were like cut marks or way to tell that a limb had been cut from a tree as opposed to just naturally having fallen off the tree onto the ground and used that way.
Okay, so the motion that was filed by the defense today is mostly because of this right here. This right here, where the detective Olahai or whatever his name is, said that in his opinion, the limbs, branches were put on the girls' bodies to conceal them. Now the defense is like, okay, well, now we need to be able to rebut that statement. And because of that, we need to be able to say, but what if he wasn't trying to conceal them? There are lots of things that we need to say regarding the Odinism theory and the ritualistic way the branches were put on them, in our opinions, right?
Right.
So that's the motion that the defense filed, I think today.
It was today, yes.
So we're going to read that before the end of the stream is over. But that right there, that statement from that detective about the concealing the girls with the limbs is why they filed that motion. So
Yep.
Definitely established that the logical assumption from the clothing was that Abby had been dressed in Libby's clothing. This from the fact that the sweatshirt had the name German on the back, so it appeared to be from the German family. The sizing of the clothing, Abby is considerably smaller than Libby, and the clothes were too large for her. So the logical assumption was that Libby had been disrobed, and Abby then dressed in Libby's clothing. But they had no information or analysis about when or where that would have taken place. At one point, I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a little bit. They didn't analyze the sticks to see if they could determine what trees they were from, like what species of tree, which might have been helpful. Might have been helpful information. Let you know if they had been transported, for quite some time, if they could be attributed to trees that were right there in the ground zero area, if they had been brought in from out off the scene. Those could have been pieces of information that might have added something to the story of what was going on down here at this crime scene. He acknowledged they had found shoe impressions near ground zero on the banks near the creek, but he minimized this by pointing out, well, there had been very large search in this general area, and so we made no effort to find the source of the shoe prints. This I thought was a little bit of an own goal. This kind of backfires a little bit because that tends to support then the defense theory that there were searchers down in the area of ground zero. And if there were searchers down in the area of ground zero, stands to reason, at least it raises the question, why didn't they see the bodies? Why didn't they see the bodies if they were down there
100%.
searching in this particular area? There's a lot of possible explanations, but certainly a possible explanation is because the bodies were not there.
Right.
That's what I
the
think.
Explanation, but
I don't think they were there.
The defense's argument that they're trying to.
I don't either. And that's something that she's talked about a lot in this video and in the one prior to that, and Bob and Allie's videos updates since the crime scene photos day before yesterday. is the amount of blood. There's there's not enough. And she goes into specific detail about like how the body has so many liters of blood in it.
Yep.
Their necks were cut and there was a lot of blood.
Which would have, okay, Dale hunts. I don't know if you hunt. I know Dale hunts. Has he ever slit a deer's neck?
I don't know.
It's a lot. You slit something's neck, that the largest veins of your body go through the neck. Okay, your
Right. You're
carotid and
like
your
carotid.
jugular.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you will lose, you will lose all
Pretty
your
much all
blood.
of your blood.
Yeah. So and there's like well, I would do liters, but to make it easier, it's about 1.5 gallons of blood at any given time. Nine pints, I think it is. Can't remember liters. It's like 7% of your body weight or something like that. I can't remember. But it's a lot, and I'm not gonna get gruesome, but I've seen it out on pavement, and
Mhm.
even on pavement, it'll soak in and you can't kinda see it. So, there was argument that the blood had soaked in, but I don't think they were killed there.
She said that with the temperature the way it was and blood congeals too fast,
Yep,
she
that's what
doesn't
I
think
think.
that it would have soaked in. Plus, all of the leaf litter that they were
Yep,
laying on, there wasn't
would have
enough
caught
blood
it.
under them. There was
Yep,
blood under them, but not enough. The most
no.
vast majority of the blood that was found was near their feet,
Yeah,
which I
don't
could
make sense.
understand that making sense if they're moving the bodies from one place to there where they were finally rested and he's got them in an area. Plus, the way that the blood was going upwards on Libby's face,
Yep,
it looked like she had been like upside down or drop, and then the blood spatter on her thighs were going sideways, not down
yeah,
the leg.
yeah.
It was going like sideways. So, and there was hardly any blood at all on Abigail. So,
They treated Abigail with care.
yeah, much different. There's such a difference between see, Henny, okay, 5 to 6 liters. I
Or 5
think
to 6 liters,
Andrea
yeah.
said like 7 liters or something.
It can be upwards of 7. It's like the calculation is like 7% of your body weight because it changes based on your weight. But yeah, anywhere between like 5 and 7 liters. We usually use the 7 liter mark as a high mark, but it's a lot. And
Yeah.
if you cut somebody's throat, it's
Well,
gonna
I mean,
be
you
there.
think 7 liters, that is a lot of blood.
Yeah,
Because you think a 2-liter bottle of pop, that's 2
right.
liters.
Yep,
So it would be 3 plus some.
yep. And it's a lot. And like I said, the carotid and jugular run through the neck.
She said Andrea said at the foot, like the biggest puddle of blood that was there, looked to her to be about the size in diameter or in space, looked to be about the size of like a hand towel. Like
Oh
what you
yeah,
would dry your
no,
hands with at
that's
the
not.
bathroom in the bathroom.
No, that ain't enough.
No.
That ain't enough.
Mm-mm.
Especially with, like you said, with the ground being cold and it congealing and all that.
Mhm.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Because the temperature dropped considerably. It was warm that day. That's why they were out at the bridge.
Well,
But as
actually,
it
they
got,
said it was like 47 degrees that day.
yeah. Well, I'm saying it was warm for there.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
and warm for February there.
right, for there. But they said the temperature dropped considerably once the sun went down.
Mm.
But I don't think there's any way that those babies were killed out there. There's no
Mm.
way. There were so many people out there searching.
Mhm.
I wanna know, I wanna hear from the people that were searching over on that
Oh,
side of
yeah.
the river,
Yeah, I would too.
and be
I would
like, "Where
too.
were you?
Mhm.
Where were you? And who are the 3 phones that were down there?"
Yeah. I'm sure we'll hear more about that later on.
Mm,
Alright, let's get back to it. Oh, goodness, we could go on and on about this forever.
yes.
Make. that the searchers had been in that area, and if the bodies had been there, they would have seen them. They did acknowledge that one of the shoe prints that had been identified had similarities to one of the shoes that had been recovered from the scene. Nevertheless, they didn't do anything. Didn't do anything with that. They did not, take imprints or anything like, try to find out what the source of the shoe prints were.
This next little bit is interesting too.
Uh,
Yeah.
Trooper Olahai said that the
The F
reason
tree.
they had not looked for fingerprints was that there were no good substrates for fingerprints. It would have been the sticks and the clothes and things like that. Those are not good sources to be able to find fingerprints.
The body is.
Mr. Rosie questioned Trooper Olahai about the markings, the blood marks on the F tree,
This is interesting.
Yeah.
and Trooper Olahai didn't like to answer the defense questions. He's one of these police officer witnesses. Trooper Page was like this as well, where they would often answer something other than the question that was asked. They would avoid answering the question that was asked, or they would kind of question the question and try to move the goalposts a little bit so that they could answer it the way that they wanted to. The problem with this, from my perspective, is you run the risk that the jury is going to think that you're being evasive. And you, the law enforcement officer, should be like the last person who is being evasive. You're not there to promote an agenda. You're there for the truth. You're there to be forthcoming, tell the jury what you knew, what you observed, and so forth. And so when you don't do that, when you get all squirrely and don't want to answer questions, it's just really not a good look. Not everybody is going to see it that way, but it just is a risk that you take, that jurors may potentially get that impression. So in this particular line of questioning, what Mr. Rosie was focusing on was that in this particular red stain, I mentioned this yesterday. It looks like there are very vertical marks on it. It looks linear, certain parts of it. He really didn't want to concede this, so he gave this kind of rambling answer about how he didn't use a compass or a ruler to determine the angle of the blood stain.
I mean, do you really need to use a compass or a ruler to see with your eyeballs that it's a straight line?
No. And it looked like finger swipes. To me, it did.
Well, what she's saying is it don't look like Abby's hand landed on the tree and slid down it.
Mm. No.
Oh, she dropped. It looks like someone intentionally used their finger or something similar to and dipped it in the blood and made a mark.
To me, that's what it looks like.
Um,
Detention, I think that they brought them back after they called the search at like 2 a.m. And Libby's phone connected back to the network after 4 a.m.
was it 4 a.m.? I thought it was like 4 something PM.
No, it was 4 a.m. The phone
Okay.
connected back. Yeah. And so I think that's when they brought them back. And
Mhm.
then depending on who you ask, they started the search back up between like 6:30 and 7:30. It depends. Some people say 6:30, some people say 7:30.
Yeah, they didn't
But
search all night.
no, they called it at 2 a.m. And so I think that they brought them back after the search was called. And I don't know that one of them wasn't out there searching.
Mhm.
So they would know when they called it.
Very true.
Doug Carter, my favorite person, kept saying, "You're hiding among us." Yeah, he might have been out there searching with y'all. Guess who wasn't out there searching? Richard Allen.
Mm.
Just saying.
But ultimately, he has to concede. Yeah, it looks pretty straight. Do you have eyeballs? Yes, you have eyeballs. And with your eyeballs, does it appear? Yes, it appears to be. These appear to be straight lines. So really, all he would concede was that it appeared to him to be a large area of contact transfer of blood. So meaning something had contacted the blood and then transferred the blood onto the tree. Didn't want to go anywhere as far as, was this like an accidental transfer or was this deliberate? The defense is, I think, clearly setting the stage for this is deliberate because of just the nature of the markings, the linear quality to them, It's not like an accidental handprint or something like that. He did not have anybody examine the mark on the tree. They did not preserve the trunk of the tree. They simply photographed the marks. This seems like an oversight to me. You can cut down that tree and you can secure and keep that section of trunk so that you have it. Don't know if that's going to end up being important or not. It's just at this point, they could have done it and they didn't. So does it matter? It will matter if the quality of the photo, for example, if a person is clothed versus if they aren't clothed. He revisited the scavengers, this idea that had these girls been out.
Sorry, I'm skipping around, but I wanted to, I want to make sure that I hit certain points. And now she's talking about the scavengers. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know how long it takes for like buzzards. So ugh, sick to even think about it. But she talks about it, and I don't know how long it takes for them to start scavenging after something has died, you know?
It's fairly quickly, because they'll get the scent of blood. But I don't know, like, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. Um, mm, mm-mm. I'm not buying it. I can't believe they didn't take that tree trunk.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't test the trees to see if they came from the area. They didn't. Sorry, that was me.
Oh, that's okay.
Um, they didn't. I just feel like so much was left. So much was left. Um, it is a lot of risk, but I don't know detention. I don't think they were out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how, like, they didn't
It
I don't
wasn't
know
really
that anybody was
secure.
out there. I don't know that
Yeah,
anybody was actually out there, like, they wouldn't have had any reason to be out there because they didn't know at that point where the girls were at or if they were even alive, you
yep,
know, when they were searching. Um, but I mean, who knows? If they were murdered there, it could have I've thought about this, it could have been a situation where, you know, they did it in the he did it in the river or
yeah.
the creek and most of the blood washed away. Or could it have been a situation where if it was some sort of weird ritualistic thing, would they have, like, bled into
Let them
a
out.
bucket or something?
Yeah,
And you took that and used it for I mean, well, I have no idea. Stranger things have happened, right?
yep.
I
And like
don't
Jenny
personally
said,
feel like that they were murdered there where they laid, and, also another reason is because there wasn't much they said,
the leaf litter wasn't
disturbed very much,
disturbed. Yeah,
except for one spot, and if he would have been sitting there, like, really hardcore struggling to get clothes on and off of a girl, there would have been
yeah.
a lot more disturbance of the ground, I would think.
And people might have searched all night, but they didn't know where they were. They were searching a huge area, so we don't know that they were searching there.
Mhm.
And that may be exactly why they brought them there because there wasn't people searching there.
Well, and
That's why I said I want to hear from the people that were searching.
if it was somebody that had anything to do, and I'm not saying it is because I don't know, if they were, um, anyway not related to, like, familial wise, but, like, acquaintances of Logan or something like that, his properties are out there.
Just saying.
I mean,
Just
but
saying.
I mean, that's all theory. I don't know. I don't know.
It is all theory, but I mean, it's not bad theory to me.
Mhm.
It makes sense. He knew the grounds. He knew the area. He could see from his house where they were searching
Yeah.
for the most part. And I mean, with it being so dark like that, you could see their flashlights and stuff. You could see where they
From a
were
mile
searching.
away, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
And you
who's to
can hear
say?
them too if you live
Yep,
out
because they were
there.
hollering. Because they were hollering.
Yeah.
And so who's to say? And like they said, if those girls were screaming, it would have echoed.
Mm,
Okay. And so them people hollering would have echoed. So they would know where they were. And maybe that's how they chose that place, was because there wasn't anybody there. I don't know that that place had any significance in anything other than
mm-mm,
there wasn't anybody there and they could get rid of them.
mhm.
It's just I put the QB disclaimer up because I was
Somebody, and I
talking.
don't remember who it was that I heard it from. It would have either been Bob, or I don't think it was Andrea. It was probably Bob or, um, Lawyer Lee, talking about how they had thought about or heard, or, what if it was a situation where there was a car parked down there under that bridge where the, you know,
Yep,
roadway
and they
was,
drug them down
and
there.
somebody got them in the car. That's why they probably didn't hear any screams. What if it was someone they knew that got them into the car and was like, "Hey, let's blah,
That's
blah."
my theory.
So, I mean, it could have been a situation like that. The murder happened somewhere else, and then they
My theory
brought
is
them back
that
out there because that's where they were last seen, in that area, and it was way away from where they're from or something. I don't know.
can
There's
you hear
so
me?
many theories.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I didn't think you could hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I personally have always felt it was someone they knew.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they could have gotten the only way the only way they could have gotten them both without a fight would be if they had a hold of Abby and they threatened Abby and Libby was like, "Okay, okay, 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 I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming."
Mhm.
But I still feel like they would have been yelling and screaming. And there were a lot of people out there that day because it was, a, wa- a, a warm, I'm gonna say quote unquote warm day there,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know, but
I don't either. Hold on, I wanna get through. Sorry, my phone's dinging left and right.
yep, mine too. I've got my phone silenced,
Look at you.
but I don't want you to silence yours because then you don't see me when I say, "Let me back in."
Oh my god.
I agree
Okay.
with you, detention. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here. We got here
Mm,
with some lies on a PCA. That's how we got here.
yeah.
I just
There
it's
overnight.
Oh,
It
sorry.
seems
Sorry. Oh, and then she bounces down. You guys.
to me how and they
Oh, wait, which one is you? There's 2 of
um
you.
the one says QB's pooter.
Sorry.
The other one says QB. I'm the QB. I changed their name so you would know. I got my pooter so that if I get if I get thrown out, I can put myself back. Because I'll be in a whole tirade and my computer's like, nope. My Wi-Fi, my AOL, someone tried to make a call in and broke
Oh
my
my
AOL
lord.
signal.
Yahoo!
Yahoo! Oh, not Yahoo! They had discs too.
Mhm.
I had a Yahoo and an
MSN.
AOL account.
Oh my lord.
I was like, look, it ran out. Let me jump over to Yahoo. Y'all remember my Yahoo address? Y'all go over there.
India said it sounds like hiding evidence and sloppy investigation.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
All right. Um, I'm gonna start this back, and then I'm gonna look through this timestamp list to see what else I want to hit next after this part.
Okay.
like there may just that's the question. Is it likely, or would one expect that there would be scavenger activity of some kind? Trooper Olahai was very bearish on that, very negative on that. He took the position that While things like insects can be very helpful in determining a cause of death, the problem is that this was February. You don't have many insects in February. They are all dormant underground, and so you wouldn't get the direct insect activity. And according to Trooper Olahai, the insect activity is then in turn what tends to attract the other scavengers, the foxes, the raccoons, and so forth. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I'm really not sure that I agree with that. Anyway, Mr. Rosie had a good rebuttal to that. He's like, don't we have turkey buzzards here in Indiana? Yeah, they do. I've seen a lot of them circling. There was a whole, I was, I had to do a quick run. I forget what I needed to get. I needed.
Okay, I found the next spot I wanna get. It's close. It's 56, minutes and 19 seconds when she starts talking about, the Bridge Guy video.
Okay.
So, I wanna make sure to get that in. Let me start it back about right here.
Ms. O'Shea did much better with her objections and just overcoming objections than any of the other attorneys did. Found that notable. So we had the video. The video was extracted. It is exhibit number 200. Not that it matters at this point in time since we don't get them, we don't get access to them. And I'll follow up on that when we get to the end. But so we saw the video. The video was played in court. So the
Hey,
video is
Chaloon.
not at all what has been publicly released. The publicly released video is that short clip of the man walking on the bridge and the voice saying "girls downhill." There's a whole big thing about you don't see the man's lips move while the sound is going on and stuff. So maybe there's more people. Just kind of an open question. The video itself, you barely even see that man. They actually showed this video twice in court, and the first time they showed it, I couldn't even see him in it because he's so far in the background. So what the video shows, it was described as about a 43-second video. It wasn't that long. What they played in court was in the ballpark of about 30 seconds. So I'm not sure where the 43 seconds comes from. It starts with the phone pointed down towards the bridge. It comes up and it turns back. It's like from the far end of the bridge, turns back towards Abby, and you see Abby walking on the bridge. And at first you don't see a man. You don't see a man there. And the video is kind of shaky, and it's like she's holding it in her hand and just kind of walking, or not really paying a lot of close attention to where she's pointing it. The phone kind of then comes up towards the direction of the end of the bridge, and you see Abby in her red shirt run past the phone across the end of the bridge. And you hear Libby say, at least it sounds like it's Libby. You hear a young female voice say, "There's no path down." And there's something else that she says I wasn't able to decipher there in the courtroom. So that's the video. That's the video. They sent it to the officer who's trained in doing the enhancements. They also took screenshots from the video, and so basically showed how in the first glimpse of Abby in the frame, you don't see the man behind him. But as they advance through the frames, later ones, you can see the man, but he's very, very small. So they examined the phone initially, remember, on February the 15th. They did a second examination, a second extraction on February the 21st. The explanation was because the first one was quick and dirty,
Hey,
the get what they
Susan.
can because time is of the essence. The second one was to just use more of the tools, do a more thorough job. So they used some of these other extraction mechanisms that they have besides Celebrite. So they really didn't get anything that was significant from those other extractions. Did a third one on September the 15th of 2017. This was when Celebrite had released, I guess before they only had method one. By September 5th of 2017, they had released method two and method three. He didn't explain what these methods are, and this is where he then went into explaining they have different levels of extractions: the logical, which is advanced, the advanced logical, which is a file extraction, and the physical extraction, which is like everything off of the phone. But he didn't describe what the methods were and how that differs from the levels. So the method two produced minimal new information, according to him. Their lab did not have the capability to do the method three extraction. So they sent the phone to their partners, their federal partners at the Department of Homeland Security. And they ran the method three extraction in their DC lab. And so that then created a new report with the new data. So we're at three so far, right? We're at February 15th, February 21st, September 5th. They did it again, fourth one in 2019. That was done by a different examiner in the office because at this point, um, uh, Trooper Bunner had been promoted to be the supervisor, so he doesn't do the line work anymore. That's what we got on direct examination. Ms. Auger handled the cross. She is clearly quite knowledgeable about the ins and outs of cell phone extraction. She knew a lot of the lingo, knew a lot of the details about how it worked when the witness was wanting to be tight-lipped and not really spell things out or whatever. She was able to call him out on it. She's familiar enough with it that she's able to let him know that she knows what she's asking here. She's not just reading a script or something like that. She has the ability to follow up.
Okay, another really good point that I wanted to let you guys listen to, is let me go back and find it. It was back a little bit. Was 43, the timestamp 43. So this is where the jury okay, so apparently this trial is kinda like, oh, which trial was it we watched where the jury got to ask questions?
Um,
There's been a few, but,
yeah,
I can't
can't
remember.
remember.
But the jury gets to ask questions, which is really cool because it kind of leads you into
Shows you their mindset.
what they're thinking, what they're wanting to know, right? And so she lists, 5 questions that the jury has, and I thought these were really interesting questions. So
That was our answer to that. Jury had a lot of questions today. So some very, very good questions, especially in a moment when we get to the cell phone
Hi,
extraction,
Wayne.
leads me to the suspicion we have some technical people on this jury. So the first question, did the undergrowth under Abby appear disturbed and indicate she was dressed as she laid there? And I thought that was a very good question because yes, if Abby had been dressed by somebody else while she was laying there, you would expect to see just that the leaves in the ground and stuff are going to be moved around from the act of moving her body. He did not recall anything like that other than from when they themselves, the responders, moved the bodies to document the scene and then to recover and remove them. They asked when evidence is tested at the lab, how is it logged and resealed in the same bag? So we had gotten some of the description from Trooper Olahai about the logging process and how numbers are assigned in a barcode and then it's held and secure and the chain of custody log is created that shows where it's gone and who's handled it and so forth. So how do they reseal it in the same bag? So he went through the explanation of here's how it's sealed and then when the lab goes and opens it they do it over here and then they will relabel it reclose it with their own labels and initial it. How the initials on it are basically how you track who has touched it where. Is it common? Is it common? Great question. Is it common to change gloves during evidence collection of different items? Thank you. Thank you, jurors, because you know if you watched Karen Reed, you know, you know where I'm at. You know where I'm at with this. And we sat and watched them on the stand go in and touch every single little piece of evidence and the outsides of things and their hair and whatever with the same gloves on their hands, therefore pretty much destroying the integrity of any of those items. He said, yes, absolutely. That is common. He had already said that his personal practice is to wear two pairs of gloves because it's easier to change them out. You need to change them out quite a bit if it's your skin. These gloves are tight and your skin gets sweaty and whatever. It's hard to get them on. If you have another pair of gloves on, it's much easier to put on a new glove over a glove than it is over your bare skin. They asked, was the bullet collected in an envelope or in a pillbox? This came up because one of the previous crime scene investigators had testified that the pillbox would be like like how you would want to preserve something like a cartridge so that it doesn't get damaged. But these were clearly in an envelope. And so Trooper Olahai said that no, it had been in this original packing and had never had been removed from that. That they wouldn't transfer it because you wouldn't want to risk damaging it, so you'd keep it in the original. And then the final question is what identified where an item was resealed, and that had essentially already been answered through the question about the labels. So jurors thinking along the same lines there, obviously, and very concerned about integrity, the integrity of what it is they're seeing, and the mechanisms that are in place to preserve it, to make sure that it hasn't been tainted, hasn't been altered, that they can count on what is being presented to them. We got all our recesses today. By the way, we did have a morning recess after this, and we had a lunch, and we had an afternoon recess, and then we broke it like just right about 5 o'clock. So fairly normal length of court day today.
They're lucky because Judge Gull has been like not letting them like not take breaks.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, Andrea had said the other day during one of her updates, she was like, I'm worried that I'm going to dehydrate. Like,
People are going to fall out.
Jeez. Okay. And the link to Andrea's video is here, hold on just a second.
I can get it.
Okay.
Do you want to the video or to her YouTube?
You can do to just the video that way, because I want people to be able to go back and watch it in its entirety. Because we're skipping around,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's worth watching.
It's day 7, right?
Yeah.
Got you.
Thank you. Let me find the next spot.
And Shalhoub, they used the FBI, and then they didn't like the answers that they were giving them, so they kicked the FBI out. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you kick the FBI out.
Mm-mm.
But they did not like what they were saying, and they were like, yeah, thank you. We don't need your help anymore.
Okay. Okay, so the last thing I want to share is it's 12:40 is the Rayleigh Voorhees, which was one of the girls that saw Bridge Guy.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the eyewitnesses that saw
He
him.
was confused.
Oh, Brenda is over there in Ferris saying, "Is anybody here?" God love it. Okay, 139. Let me go find that real quick.
She's the one that said he was wearing black, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go over and tell Brenda where we are.
It was either her or her sister that said that. I can't remember which, because there's her and then someone else.
He is going through and producing that Bridge Guy because Bridge Guy is tiny. He's tiny in the video, and they wanted that, full screen capture of him, that isolation of him, focused in on him. That's part of why it's such poor quality. It's like pixelated almost. But it used an interpolation process to be able to produce that when they resized it into the full size. So it guessed how to fill in some of the detail of what Bridge Guy looked like. That they didn't hammer it home solid at this point. It came out a little bit technical, but that is really important.
I know, Chaloon.
And so it's something that I hope they make a note to focus on in closing. Make sure that they mention
so bad.
that. The next the next 3 witnesses actually were the eyewitnesses. So the first was Rayleigh Voorhees. She was a student at Delphi High School in 2017 in her sophomore year. She knew Abby and Libby. She was out at the trail that day with 2 of her sisters and her friend. And she is like a hobby photographer, an amateur photographer, has a nice Nikon camera. And so she was going out to the trail to take pictures, but they also took pictures on their phones for social media. She was familiar with the area, would often go out there alone, but a lot of times also with her friends and her sisters and so forth. So they described her path, basically the path she would walk from her home, how she would get to the trail. They would basically come in from the side, cross the Freedom Bridge, and follow the entire High Bridge Trail all the way down to the bridge. She did not go across the bridge all the way. She just went to the first platform. I will note this witness was so quiet. So she had to be told several times, speak up. Nobody can hear you. The jury can't hear you. I mean, if the jury can't hear her and the jury is right next to her, there's no way we in the gallery are going to be able to hear what she said. So there were quite a few details that we were not, just were not clear at all. Like some names, like her sister's names and stuff, the ages. Uh, yeah, various points where we just couldn't hear. But ultimately, what we got from it, they went all the way down to the high bridge. Like I said, she didn't go all the way across. She went to the first platform. They were taking pictures. Nobody else went out onto the bridge. Her friend Bree went out just a couple of steps onto a couple of the ties. So they had left home at around 11:30. They got to the bridge around noon. According to her, after they went off the bridge, they went down beneath the bridge by going down the right hand side. She said there's an area where there is a little bit, there's not as much brush or trees, there's no path down, but there's just kind of a clear area that you can see other people have gone down there, and it is still very steep, but you are able to get down all the way to the water. So they went down there and took some photos down by the water, then came back up and were walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. She said it was 47 degrees that day, and the reason why she knew is because she had gone out in a light jacket, and her dad had been worried about it being too cold, about her being too cold out there, and so her stepmom had checked the temperature, and that's how she had known and filed away it was 47 degrees. So she says they didn't see anybody on the high bridge. They were walking back towards home, and they were almost all the way back to the Freedom Bridge when a man walked by them, and she said hi. Uh, and he didn't say hi back, and he glared a little bit and didn't seem like a nice person. So she got a kind of a creepy type of impression from him. She didn't recognize him. Later on, learned that Abby and Libby had gone to the trail and that they'd gone missing, and so she instantly thought, oh, maybe it was that unfriendly man, and that the whole thing had been kind of unsettling. She had made a comment to her friends, oh, he seems happy, uh, obviously being sarcastic, but they didn't really seem to notice him, according to her. So she was asked to give a statement about the man the next day, not the next day, but the day after the girls were
Hey,
found.
Brenda. Good to see you.
So she described him as being overdressed for the weather, like in layers, in darker clothes. His face was covered up to his nose. He had like a mask on, and he had white skin. He was Caucasian. He had a hat and a hood and a hat on. Uh, you couldn't. His hands were in his pocket, and you could just tell basically, like, you could see about this much, and that he had white skin. So then a couple days after the bodies were discovered was when the image of Bridge Guy was publicly released, that enhanced image that we just heard about how that was
Oh,
created. So
really?
that was
I'm
publicly
sorry you're
released,
feeling
and she
bad.
saw it
Hope
on
you feel
Facebook,
better.
and instantly she knew that was the man that I had waved at on the trail who didn't respond to me. There were a few red flags with this, as I think will potentially become evident. So Ms. Auger cross-examined. First off, kind of from a timeline perspective, she knew that she had needed to be home at 2:30 because she or her sister had cheer practice that day. It was a day off from school, but at the same time, the squad was still they'd had a makeup day, so they didn't have to go to class, but the cheer squad was still doing their practice. So whoever was on the cheer team needed to do that, and it was some distance to get from the trails back to the home. So they had gotten to Bree's house around 2:20, and based on that, she estimated that they had seen the man out by the Freedom Bridge at around 2:15. And so she pointed out 2:15 is just 2 minutes after 2:13, right? 2:13 is the timestamp of Libby's video. The man is supposed to be all the way down there at the bridge at that point in time. But now this witness is saying she saw Bridge Guy 2 minutes later down at Freedom Bridge walking towards the high bridge. So that would not fit in terms of a timeline. Ms. Auger walked her through a few different statements that she had made, giving descriptions of this man. And so the problem is they're not really all that consistent with Bridge Guy. So she had described him as being, he had black jeans. Basically, everything was in black. Her explanation was that her memory of him being unhappy, being kind of mean or whatever, had distorted maybe her memory so that she projected that onto his clothing as being dark. She was receptive to the idea that her memory was altered. At the same time, she was also very certain that the man she saw was Bridge Guy. So she had described him previously as wearing black jeans, black coat, black boots, the mask, had the hat on, had his hands in his pocket. He was in his early 20s or 30s. He had a bigger build, but she said it could have just been the heavier clothing, but she did think he had a heavier build. Then on February 17th, she said that the man was muscular, that he had dirty blonde hair, that there was just enough of it coming out of the hoodie that she was able to see it, and that it was curly. She told him he had brown eyes, a wrinkly kind of face, a square jaw, which she now says she doesn't know how she would know that because he had the mask covering his face. Then in 2021, she also made a statement. And at that point, she had indicated that she herself is 5'7" and that the man they passed was taller than her. She estimated him as being about 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no.
This doesn't sound
Yeah, it's I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 5'10", and even if he is 5'5", that's a mm-mm.
What did she say she was? 5'7"?
Yeah.
There's no way that she confused him with being taller than her, and it's Richard Allen.
Right, I know.
No
I
way.
know.
I'm telling y'all, just a whole crap and a whole lie.
It's a whole lot of something.
BS is what it is. Need some of that manure from my farm.
Oh my god. Okay. It's 12:50. We're gonna sketch through this just a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna zoom through the motion, like, read
I can
it.
read fast. I can read
Okay.
fast.
Okay.
I got you. I got you.
Okay. Let's, watch this for a couple more minutes. I think it's close to being, like, this testimony part isn't much longer.
definitely doesn't sound like Richard Allen, but it doesn't even sound like Bridge Guy, like the Bridge Guy that we can see with our eyes, Bridge Guy. So to me, these were like real telltale. I'm glad that she acknowledged possibility that her memory was altered, because to me this is telltale. This is kind of a common denominator with false identifications. One of the things that's really common is the flash, the snap recognition, and the certainty. These are both really common with false identifications. You see somebody and you're instantly that face. You just make that connection. The book Lucky by what's her name? I'm spacing her name right now. Who also wrote The Lovely Bones. She's come under a little bit of fire lately because
She talks about this for a few minutes about the Lovely Bones book. Whoever the
Mm-hmm.
author of that is had apparently, went through a really horrific, um, like, attack, and the person that she,
It's
how was
Alice
it?
Thorold.
Okay. Okay. But she said
Yeah.
that the, person that she ID'd for it wasn't the right person.
Yeah.
But because of her brain told her it was because he looked similar enough, and that man spent 30 some years in prison and
Yep.
was just now exonerated because they realized it wasn't him. But she wrote the book called The Lovely Bones, and, Andrea talks about that a lot. So, um, okay, I think that's enough of, Miss Andrea. Thank you, Andrea Burkhart, for your excellent,
Yes.
not that she'll ever see this, but just in
You know
case she
she's
does.
watching, Andrea. We know you're watching. Give us a like, put a thumbs up. Appreciate it. and I'm trying to make friends. Um,
She has excellent Delphi coverage.
she really
So
does. She's amazing. She's
mhm,
amazing. And the fact, again, I just want to say that she has put her life on hold for I mean, they're saying 4 weeks, but with everything and the breaks and the jury and all that, it's about 6 weeks that she's there.
mhm,
And it's just, to me, it's amazing, and I'm so thankful that she's out there, that they're all out there, you
mhm,
know. Um, and even the Andrea chick that's mainstream media that everybody's giving a hard time,
mhm,
I think she's doing a great job. She's doing her best. So,
mhm.
anyways, I'm thankful for them.
I'm appreciative to everybody that's there covering it and bringing us the information because they're our eyes and ears.
Yep, we wouldn't have it
So,
if it weren't for them.
nope.
So,
So I would love it if you guys that aren't already following her to go give her a follow, a subscribe, or whatever you wanna call it over here on the YouTubes. And, if you leave a comment, let her know that the Crime Cafe sent you.
yeah, please do, because we trying to make friends over here.
Alright, do you
So,
want to read the motion?
yes, I got it right here.
Alright.
Just do me a favor, and if I drop out, put me back on because I can see it, but I can't get to it fast enough. Oh
Okay.
my, oh, who did you delete?
I got rid of the stream.
Oh, God bless. I was like, I already jumped down. Okay, so this was filed at 8:50 this morning.
Can
And
you share it on the screen?
oh, stand by. I can. I don't have it. I'm afraid I'm gonna outdo my
Oh, well,
bandwidth
I'll
over
put it
here. No,
up.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Just stand by.
Okay.
Stand by.
Stand by your
Your man. I
man.
love doing little things where I say something on purpose because I know you're gonna pick it up
Mhm.
and you do it. You sing for me.
I can't help it.
I know. I do it on purpose, though. I
Thank
just
you,
want you to
Shalene.
know that I do it on purpose.
I know you do.
I know. Okay. Share your screen. Oh, which StreamYard am I in? Hold on. Share screen. Present. Share
Thank you,
screen.
Chaloon. That means a lot.
Yeah. Yay, Jenny. Motion to admit. Let's see. Booyah. Got it? Is it there? Am I in the
I
right
see
room?
it
Oh
on the
no, I
back.
gotta hit the oh, I hate that. Update. I got it. Sherry said, "We can't see the screen," and I was like, "Dang it!" When I was doing Ferris, I was talking about they were talking and doing the whole thing, and I was like, "Look at her with her pearls and everything." Sherry's like, "We can't see it." I was like, "Oh!" Forgot to hit the
That's
extra button. They changed that. You didn't used to have to do that.
well,
Well, they like to keep me on my toes. All right,
I
you
guess.
ready?
Keeps you nice and healthy. Keeps
Yes.
your nose wet and cold.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
um,
Alright.
just
I'm sorry.
make sure you put me back up if I fall down.
I will. I got my finger on
Holler
the
at me
button.
so I stop. Okay. Motion to admit evidence of Odinism, Norse paganism, ritualistic killing. Comes now the accused, Richard Allen, by and through counsel, and moves this court to admit certain evidence that this court thus far has prevented the defense from presenting to the jury pursuant to its September 4th, 2024 order. This got to be Rossi. He's wordy. In support of said motion, the defense states the following. On Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, CSI Brian Olahay
I
testified,
mean
one of those,
mhm.
concerning various aspects of the crime scene. During his testimony, CSI Olahay indicated that the sticks covering the girls was an attempt by the killer to conceal the girls' bodies. On September 18th, 2023, the defense filed its first Franks memorandum in which the defense laid out in painstaking detail the various pieces of the evidence that provide support for the theory that the crime scene contains various signatures related to Odinism and Norse paganism. On August 1st, 2024, the defense provided the testimony of Dr. Dawn Perlmutter to the court. Dr. Perlmutter provided her CV and testimony at said hearing. Dr. Perlmutter's experience included, among other things, training the FBI and other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies concerning how to identify a ritualistic crime scene, and literally writing the book on ritualistic crime scene identification used by local, state, and federal law enforcement. She's cool, by the way. After reviewing the crime scene photographs and other reports and documentation, Dr. Perlmutter's testimony included her assessment that the sticks on the bodies, F-tree, and other aspects of the crime scene were textbook signs of a ritualistic murder related to Odinism, Norse paganism, including using sticks and blood on the tree to form runes and bind runes. Dr. Perlmutter's belief did not come out of left field as law enforcement began investigating the Odinism, Norse paganism angle as early as 2 days after the girls were found, and law enforcement continued investigating the Odin, Norse paganism angle until the death of law enforcement officer Greg Farrisee in 2021. The state of Indiana has provided its explanation of what the sticks represent, concealment of the bodies, and Richard Allen has a Sixth Amendment right to offer the jury his alternative theory as to the reasons the sticks were aligned and arranged in the manner in which they were arranged. Denial of this opportunity to present to the jury all alternative explanations would leave the jury with only one explanation, the explanation provided by the state of Indiana. Additionally, the sticks on the girls appear to be arranged in a pattern arrangement, or at minimum using a person's own eyeballs. Common sense, logic, and reason could cause a reasonable person to believe that the sticks were formed in some pattern or arrangement and weren't being used to conceal the bodies. Therefore, it could or would be confusing to a juror who might think that the arrangement of sticks was intentionally placed in a certain arrangement on the bodies, but then those jurors aren't provided with any explanation for the way the sticks are placed on the bodies in a certain arrangement. Evidence of Norse paganism, Odinism, would therefore assist the trier of fact and alleviate confusion for jurors. Additionally, it has been learned at the August 1st, 2024 hearing that the blood found on the F-tree resulted in the state of Indiana retaining a blood spatter expert more than 7 years after the murders. Dr. Perlmutter's testimony would be offered in part to counter the testimony of the state's blood spatter expert, and the accused has the Sixth Amendment right to counter their blood spatter expert's testimony. Being able to provide the evidence to the jury that Odinism, Norse paganism, as an alternative explanation of stick arrangement on the girls' bodies, including the testimony of Dr. Perlmutter, would offer the following: a rebuttal to the state of Indiana's explanation of why the sticks appear the way that they appear, consistent with the 6th and 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. A rebuttal as to the state of Indiana's blood spatter expert, an alternative explanation to any confused jurors who believe the sticks and blood on the tree weren't used for concealing the bodies, but rather believed that the sticks were arranged by a Norse paganist, Odinist, as part of ritual. Defendant files this motion currently in part for purposes of a ruling in anticipation of the need to contact our witnesses in the event that the court reverses his ruling. So her ruling. And then the certification of service. I just think that's funny. So yeah. I don't know how they cannot. The only thing I don't like is that they said this part right here. Let's see. I think they should have left it as an alternative explanation to any confused juror who believes the sticks and blood weren't used for concealing, period, end of sentence. Because that's saying that the jury already has a theory about Norse and Odinist ritual, and I don't know that they do. They might, but I don't know that they do. Do you know what I'm saying? I think they should have ended it at bodies, but that's just my personal opinion.
But I think that anybody that would see the photo, like when they go to the jury room and they start talking about it, when they're actually able to talk about it, I could see somebody being like, "Yo, those photos totally look like some."
We're wild, right?
No, that movie. What was that movie? Blair looked like something from the Blair Witch
Yeah.
Project, you know?
That's what I'm saying, like, they'd be like, "Yo, is that not some weird crap that we just saw?"
Mhm.
Like, I don't
I
know.
would. I mean, I wouldn't, because 'cause you're not supposed to talk about anything at this point, but in my
No.
brain, it would be saying, "That looks like some Blair Witch Project-ish."
But what I'm saying is the way that they wrote it, it's like, "Oh, they're already thinking it's Odinist." Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
I
mhm,
don't know that that's where they are.
accurate, yeah. Yeah,
So
'cause I had no idea
anyways,
that that was even a thing until this whole thing started with Richard Allen, with the girl with the, the girls, and I'd never even heard of it, but
I had heard of it because of Loki, but, um,
mm,
but I didn't put
well,
it
yeah,
together.
but I mean, I didn't
I
know it
thought it
was a
could have been
legit
fake.
thing.
Right, that's the same thing. I had heard of it, but I was like, it was just made up by Marvel or whoever did it. I don't know.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm,
y'all don't come for me because I don't know who makes what.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I wasn't sure if it was made up or whatever, and then I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
I don't know, but it's not good. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. Um, but thank you for reading that. Thank you for hopping over here. Thank you for leaving that stream over there for the last 2 hours.
I don't
People are
know
like,
what I don't know what to
"What's
do. If you
going
want to,
on?"
I don't know if you want to put something in the description. If you can add something to the description box, like mental note from here to here is an
Yeah,
intermission because we were covering something else, so people
yeah.
can skip. I don't know.
I'll have to
Anyways,
make a comment or something, pin the comment so that people can see it, or,
yeah,
um,
something,
something, something. But
something,
thank you
something.
guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us over here on the Delphi stream. Now, QB's gonna go
I
back
am
to
gonna go
the
back.
Ferris trial,
I
and
am.
then I'm gonna go back to the Sarah Boone trial, and, yeah. So, do we wanna put the links to
Yeah, hold on, I'll get them.
I'll put the link to the upcoming Sarah Boone. I've got it right here.
Yeah, you do that one, and I've got the. And then if
Margaret,
y'all just, we
we're
are.
hopping.
If y'all just give me a few minutes to get everything
Alive.
realigned, and maybe make a real quick potty break. Um, so let's see. There we go. All right. So that's the we're changing classes, ma'am.
The bell rung.
Um, the bell rang. Um, well, we gave you the links, so there's 2 links, and y'all make a choice. And I won't have my feelings hurt that y'all gonna watch Sarah Boone because I know that's where y'all are going, but it's okay. Sherry's coming with me.
I've got the, FOMO on Ferris, I'm telling
I
you.
got the FOMO on Sarah. Well, not much because you said that guy was kind of me,
Yeah. I
but
mean, now they're going through a bunch of other witnesses. Now they're going through, who was it that was on the stand right before they went to lunch? I don't remember. Anyway,
she
um,
said she's scared she won't find it and she'll be late. Look,
that's alright.
there's your directions right up top. It'll take you right to it.
Yeah.
So,
I don't care if you're tardy.
yeah, we don't write slips. We'll give you a pass here. I wrote you a
Yeah,
pass, Margaret. You're good.
yeah.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all over there in a few minutes.
Brenda said she'll be with you. She needs to know about
All
Ferris.
right, Brenda, you come on with me. I'll be there in just a few minutes.
Alright, and I've got Sarah Boone, ready to spark up at 1:15. So, if, for those of you that wanna hang out with me and Sarah Boone, come on over and, grab yourself a Pop-Tart, right?
Get
Make
a
sure to
Pop
give this
Tart.
video a thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe,
Bro, I
hashtag
looked at the
replay.
calories. It's sorry. Hashtag refund. I'm sorry.
For what?
Because I interrupted you.
Oh.
You were doing your spiel. Do your spiel. Do it again.
thumbs up, subscribe, all notifications, hashtag replay in the comments if you're watching it later.
Because we
Brenda,
love to hashtag replay people.
hashtag replay people. Brenda said, I still love you, Jenny, but ... I don't blame you. I want to know what's going on with Ferris too. I have
It's
to
been
watch
pretty
it
good.
later.
It's been the interrogation, her
Yeah.
interrogation. So it's interesting because it's like they're like, how could you not know? You missed a whole 6'5" man. She's like, apparently.
Mm-mm.
So, anyways, I'll meet y'all over there.
All right. See you later. Thank you, QB. You guys
Love
have a
you.
great rest of your day if I don't see you over at Sarah Boone or over at Ferris. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.